As women today, what are we obsessed with? Are we really obsessed with self-care? Do we really have a good, healthy self-esteem? Are we really obsessed more with vanity, our appearance? Or are we obsessed with competing with one another? So yesterday I was in a sea of women. I had an event that I went to in the evening time. And of course, and I'm not saying I'm different from the other, but a lot of times situations happen and it makes me think about me when I didn't get when I wasn't whole yet. You know what I mean? When I didn't have the healing, when I was very immature, where I loved vanity. And I remember I was thinking about doing this video today, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I don't be typing out stuff and this is what I'm gonna talk about. I just be like, Lord, just whatever you lead me to talk about. And I'm so grateful that you guys enjoy some of the subjects and you guys add in, and it makes that video and that content and everything even more beautiful, right? But I was thinking to myself, I was sitting there looking and I was like, man, I remember when I used to be that way. It's immaturity. And you thinking that's what it's about, especially growing up. I don't know how everybody's city is, but growing up in Miami, it's like it is a vain state. I mean, not state, city. Miami is a vain city. I didn't realize it till years ago when, I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida. And I remember years ago, I had moved to North Carolina. And people don't really care about, not saying they don't care about their looks, because they do be looking beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Don't come after me. But what I'm saying, like, we can't go to the grocery store looking halfway, right? I don't know if I'm putting that right. Meaning, like, I don't have, like, I had to go and buy tennis shoes. I had to go and buy sandals because I would have to go to the grocery store in heels. Like, what is we doing? Because you don't want to be caught slipping. And years ago, this happened to me. I needed a relaxer. I think I was in my 20s, and I went to the Walmart. And when I went to the Walmart, it was like 2 a.m, and I had to get some things. And when I was walking in the lane, I saw one of my classmates, and they was like, "Woo, Lord," I didn't look my best. And at that time, my hair was pulled back in a ponytail, but I just didn't look my best, right? And so the next thing you know, maybe like a few weeks later, I saw somebody else from my school. And it's like, girl, how you doing? I heard you shooting bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, we can't even go to the store and just be normal. I think about that now. I'm like, oh my God, my image. Well, I mean, nobody's really checking for me. But the mindset and the way it's kind of set up in Miami, I don't know if it's still like that because I'm not in that arena anymore. But at the time, I was in the arena. I was young and, and dumb and just very vain. I wanted to talk about what vain is, but I think it's on my phone. But vain is where, because I was like, what is the difference? Because everybody who I dealt with, they would say, you're vain. And I'd be like, I'm not vain. I just have a high self-esteem. I was vain. Vain, I believe, is when you think very highly of your appearance, your looks, and things like that. Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Let me see if I can pull it up. But that's what I believe it is. And self-esteem is when you have a high value for yourself, you as a person, right? Vain definition. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. I'll make sure see if I'm right, because y'all will correct me. Like, I thought the lady put the gorilla glue. Y'all was like, no, she's still alive. So let me make sure. Having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearance, abilities, worth. The flattery made him vain, right? So I definitely was one of those. I was like going out to Miami-Dade College, if anybody y'all know about Miami-Dade. And every week I had to go get my hair done. And it's like you put it towards, it's nothing wrong with that. That's self-care. But I wasn't doing it for that. I was really doing it so I can stunt. You know what I'm saying? As we say, hold on real quick. It says Confidence, self-esteem is confidence in one's own worth or abilities of self-respect. Whoa, that is heavy. So confidence in one's ability and self-respect. And then we think about vanity, where we're like, oh my gosh, I look so great. I look fabulous, whatnot in your appearance. Now, I wanted to bring those two topics out because remember I told you about this sea of women. Now, you put those two things, figure out which way you are, but you put those two things together and now you bring them together, or you maybe one or the other, and you're in a sea full of women, but you know what I mean? But you call it self-care. So it's 3 parts to this, right? You call it, there's 4 parts to this. You got self-care, you got self-respect, which is self-esteem and your worth, knowing your worth and value. You also have vanity. You value your appearance. You think very highly of your appearance. And then you have the competition. And so I want to talk about that because it's pretty interesting. So I'm watching as the beautiful women come through the door, and it was an event. And one of the things I pride myself on, I didn't really realize it, is that I love when women come together, and I love when we build up on one another. And it's not a competition. It could be a sister or whoever that is rising to the occasion, whatever her season is. And you have other sisters that's really cheering her on. And that's what it was about, right? However, you always have those crabs in the bucket that's side-eyeing and, girl, why she put that on? That whole thing or whatever. And I saw a lot of that. I saw the women do this. You know how we do, looking from head to toe. We normally do that with men, but a lot of women do that with women because we're in competition. But they come through the door. A lot of us come through the door like, oh my God, look at me. I have such a high self-esteem, and I have I think very highly of myself, and this is how I carry myself because this is how I feel inside. And no, you really don't. We can fake the funk with other people, but you can't fake the funk with yourself. You got to go home and you got to close your eyes. You got to lay your head on the pillow, and you know what you're going through and you know what you're dealing with. And I always tell you, I try to make sure I look good no matter what I'm going through. So it's nothing wrong with it. But what is wrong is when we put the emphasis, or we put the power in vanity, and we put the power in competition, competing with one another. And so for those of you who's saying, hey, I do self-care, I want to break down the difference between self-care and vanity. And then I want to point it at competition, because a lot of us are not doing it for the reasons that we think. And the reason how I know is because a lot of us are still sick within ourselves. And we still have that little girl mentality. We still have that mindset, well, let me stunt on these girls and let them see where I'm sitting at. You know what I mean? As if you walking around with a Louis Vuitton bag and a Cartier or whatever they doing now, whatever, and the car you may drive, and that solidifies you as a woman of high respect and of worth. So we got the channels mixed up, and that's not how it goes. And so when we think about vanity, vanity is vanity is somebody that thinks really highly of themselves, and whether they are celebrities, whether they are regular people, or whether you were born with beautiful aesthetics, right? You have those great aesthetics, and everybody, if they see you, they like, you are stunning, you are gorgeous. And a lot of women, believe it or not, that I see that have beautiful aesthetics, gorgeous body and everything, they're not really vain. I know it sounds crazy. They're not vain, but it's almost like they're forced to be in this vain thing. They have to maintain themselves. They have to keep a certain look about them, because people are just like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Now you feel like you got to hold to the standard, right? I'm sorry, y'all. Everybody's just sending me messages now. I want to do a video. But then you have the people that were like I was, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I always tell y'all the story about how I was a little girl. I graduated high school, 74 pounds. So imagine if I'm in high school, 74 pounds, imagine what I looked like when I was much younger in elementary school. I was really, really tiny. And I had some hair, but I didn't stand out. I was just a typical black girl, right? it's the dark skinned, black, skinny girl. So I got picked on. I got picked on a lot at home with my siblings, and I got picked on a lot in school. And then I became the bully, right? But when I came into the beauty world, one of the reasons I decided to go into the beauty world was because I wanted to prove a point to all those people that picked on me and I picked on them, right? I wasn't a good person either. And to my siblings and say, I made it. Look at me. And a lot of us have that still, that little girl within inside of us that we want people to see the grown woman inside of us. But all we see is the little girl inside of you. And that is, to me, that's my vanity, because everything had to be perfect. And I'm still that way. I like my hair a certain way. I like my clothes a certain way. I kind of have an idea of what I want to wear. That brings me peace and happiness because I love clothes. I love accessories. You know what I mean? I'm not really into all of what the latest thing everybody's wearing, a bag. If I see a bag and it's nice, and if it's not name brand, I still buy the bag. So, but at that time, I came into the beauty world, and y'all, I was relaxing my hair every other week, okay? I was coloring my hair every other week. Nothing could be out of place. I was buying clothes, wearing it one time. How many of y'all, come on now, I'm not the only one. I was wearing the clothes one time. I was like, I can't wear that again. I took a picture of that on social media. What? And now you're in relationships with men, right? Now I'm in a relationship, I'm married, and my husband is like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. I'm married to a drama queen. Like, you know what I mean? So you're at home, and then he got to go out and protect you and make like, he happy with what's going on. But in reality, who wants to be married to somebody that all they are superficial and vain? And I wanted to show those people who was knocking me, look at me now, you know what I mean? And so that was really why I got into the beauty world. I didn't get into the beauty world just because, and I loved doing hair and those different things, but that wasn't my passion. That really wasn't my fuel. My fuel was being in competition with those, even the ones who may have reminded me of the people from my past. I wanted to be in competition. I wanted to stunt. I wanted to make them, see me. Oh, you see me, right? And so that is the vanity side. So that's the mindset of the vanity side a lot of times. And y'all can add on, because I know I'm missing some other parts, but I'm just talking about my experience and what I went through and the things that I've done and how I looked at things, right? And so that was really the fuel for me to be in the beauty world. And also I wanted to be an example to all of the dark-skinned girls who was told that they was black and they were ugly. I wanted to be the example to them and say, no, honey. We got some bad sisters in all rays of color. But for me at that time, that's where I was. Now, the one thing about me that I've always been grateful for, that God spared me with, I always loved all shades of my, like, you know how some women, if they dark skin, they don't like the light skinned girls, and the light skinned girls don't like the dark skinned girls. I never had the colorism. I mean, my friends were Spanish, whatever they were. I never had that whole thing. And I thank God that I didn't, because I just love my people. I love my sisters, And so that's the one thing that I did have. But I was there to make my presence known, because I was competing. So if it was a girl, I don't care what color she was. She could have been dark like me. Oh, no, honey. You ain't going to dress better than me. I'm going to be known to be the best dressed. I'm going to be known for this. And then when I would get things, it was never enough. A vain person, that I think it's a scripture in there about the flesh is never satisfied. That is so true, because I'd be like, if I could just get this, and I could just wear this, and I could just look like this. And when I got to that place, it wasn't enough. I wanted more. So that's the vanity side for me. That's my mindset. That was my mindset at the time when I was younger Coach Lee at that time. Then I start going through trials, right? Now this is where self-care and now that self-esteem start coming about, right? Now the competition and the vanity, those two come together, right? Because there are a lot of women, we're not getting dressed, we're not doing self-care. Vanity and competition is what tied together. Those are the two that's the married couple there. They're focused on competing with other women. They're jealous hearted of other women. They, a lot of times, women that are in vanity, I'm just going to break it down real quick. They have very low self-esteem. Everything is very superficial on top. They have very ugly spirits a lot of times, not all the time, but they have been through a lot of trauma in their life and they never dealt with the trauma. So they lean more towards this. That's where the hair extensions and the lace fronts come into play, because now they can put these masks on, put this hair on, and they could be the girl that they always wanted to be, that they weren't back then, because they had whatever kind of trauma in their life, or they was the ugly girl, they thought, or they was the fat girl, or they was a too skinny girl, or this too black girl. We had all kind of issues. So that's where the competition and the vanity tie in. Remember, it's 4 parts, right? So we got that out the way. Then we have trials. Now you're like, wait, trials, you got self-care, and now you got self-esteem. So now trials start coming in our lives. Death of a child, that was my thing. Horrible person. Didn't have good character. I'm talking about me. I don't know about everybody else. I'm talking about me. Didn't have good character, extremely low self-esteem, very tunnel vision. If people didn't agree with me, something was wrong with them. Very strongly opinionated, right? Very verbally abusive in a joking way. So I'm just picking out some of the stuff that I know, right? And then the trials come. Now the trials are here. Some of the people that you did wrong, or whatever the case may be, you have spoken to wrong, or you may burn the bridge. Now you're going through your trial and you don't have anybody. So guess what happens? Now you have to start tapping into and looking at yourself. Now you're realizing, oh, I have low self-esteem. Oh man, I'm going through this. I remember that my friend was going through that and I judged her, right? So now I'm looking at, oh, my self-esteem is really low. That's why I was saying the things I said and pass it off as a joke. The mean girl, right? So now I'm saying, why did you do that? Because you had a low self-esteem. You didn't know your worth. You had trauma as a little girl. You never dealt with the trauma as a little girl. You view people who cause a trauma in your life as an adult as the people from your childhood, right? Therapy, right? So now, even though you're trying to figure out, well, why did this happen? What's happening now is character is coming into play, right? Now you got to maneuver through this death of a child. This is me. Now I have to maneuver through this death of my child, and I have to say, God, I need you. And God said, oh, you need me? I got something for you. I need you to change, right? And then so when that happens, either 2 things going to happen. You're going to either get worse, and you're not going to fix it. You're going to be the woman that's in her 50s and 60s talking about hot girl summer, or you're going to get better. And you're going to be like, I got some stories to tell you, just in case you're going down this path. This is how it really looks. Now, we don't want to talk about these things because we want everybody to see the social media us, the perfect us, the I'm always happy us. We don't want to talk about the issues at hand that deals with it internally. So what happens is when you start identifying with the issues with yourself, that's called, guess what, ladies? Holding ourselves accountable. When you start holding yourself accountable and you start taking ownership of things and saying, I messed that up. God, help me when the next time, if it's the next time, help me to be a better person to her or him. Help me to be a better wife. Help me to be a better mother. I made some bad mistakes. When we're able to own it and admit it, right? That is where self-care comes into play. So it's not all about the makeup and the hair and all the stuff in the clothes. It's only a shell. When we leave this earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's a shell. You can't take any of that with you. But what you will leave behind is your legacy, your name. What does your name say about you? So that is part of the real self-care. When you can be kind to people, when you want to help somebody out and there's no motive, it's nothing for you to gain from it. That is self-care, because now what we're doing, we're working on the internal, the inside of us, and we're getting all of that ugliness out, that vanity, that competition, that hatred. Self-hatred was a big thing for me, right? I can go, you know how women say, oh, I can go to 0 to 1,000. That's not cute. That means when you say you go to 0 to 1,000, that means you got work to do internally, because nothing should be able to set you off to get you from 0 to 1,000. That's part of being feminine. That's femininity. That's being soft. We talking about the soft girl era. That's part of that. Not losing your temper, being sober-minded, right? So self-care is that. Now I'm dealing with the inside of me. And guess what's happening? I don't want to be that person. I don't want, when people mention Lethra, that they talk about the bad. I want them to say, you know what? She used to be like that, but she done changed. That sister right there is a good example for a lot of us, girl. I saw her go through some stuff, and I didn't know how she was going to make it out, but that girl did that thing. That is what I was aiming for. And guess what happens then? Now I'm tuning into my self-esteem, right? So now my self-esteem is coming up. I'm starting to get some balance. And now all of that vanity stuff, I still like to look good, because self-care is now I'm starting to work on that inside. Now I want to be more modest. You know, I still want to have a little sexiness to me, right? But at the same time, I got to understand who I am. What message am I trying to give out to my sisters or my younger sisters, right? Now I'm the older woman. I don't want to be in competition. I want to say, hey, don't turn that corner, girl. I'll turn that corner. That's not where you want to go. So when you work on self-care, which is the internal, then your self-esteem is at a level where you're not walking out in the streets with lingerie on. You do what you want to do. I'm talking about me. You don't want to be, which I didn't do that before, but I was close to it. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not judging you. But when you start building up your self-esteem, when you start understanding what real self-care is, and it's not about dressing out, it's not about the vanity, it's not about me showing, let me show these women, let me put this on camera. It's not about that. When you are able to make an impact spiritually, mentally, and that leaves a standard. Now you have a standard that you have younger women, you have older women, you have women, you know, that's saying, you know what? Let me get myself together. It won't be so many broken marriages. It won't be so many broken homes with their children, and we're repeating the cycle as women. I don't know about the men. I know we got issues with the men, but for me, I think it's important that we get ourselves together. That's what this channel is about. Now, I tell you all the time, my channel it's a community where we talking about self-care, self-love, all those things. That is the true authenticity of you, is being able to lock down, get the discipline, and say, hey, I gotta fix this. So I put this video out here because I want it to make it mean something to you. I want you to look at yourself and say, how can I be better than myself? And I'm glad y'all come to the channel and y'all get the videos and y'all get the understanding of don't put this in your hair and all those different things. And I'm glad that y'all, you walk out the house, you're not walking around with the bonnets on your head no more. I'm glad that you're taking care of yourself, you're looking good. But I'm telling you, it won't last long if we don't work on this inside. So I started off saying this, and I'm ending it with this. Are you really obsessed with vanity? Are you obsessed with competition? Are you obsessed with self-care, real self-care? And are you obsessed with self-esteem? Which one of these do you connect with? Be honest with yourself. We're not in the house with you. We're not in your room at night. We're not there. But all I can tell you is that start journaling. That's part of self-care. Start journaling, start meditating on the scriptures, right? Start doing those things and put yourself in a position where you can hold yourself accountable and actually say, am I really a good example to my daughters, if you have daughters, or my sons? Am I the type of woman that I want my son to bring home to me? These are the things that we got to fix, ladies. And I'm praying that this video helps you. I didn't write it down. I just thought about it, and I come to you. I ask God to give me the ideas, the content that I can bring to you. And I pray that you guys can add your stories as you always do. I love that you guys come in and that you communicate and you tell your stories. And listen, y'all, those stories help me. Those stories help others, because I can only look at things a certain way, but it helps me broaden my mindset when I hear another sister say, oh, I did this, or my mom did this, or I remember this, and y'all tell y'all stories. All right. So I pray that this video helps you. I am Lee Hill, your hair coach. And today it was really about self-love, dealing with the internal, because I put out 2 videos that was talking about products, and also, I can't think of the other video. Oh God. Y'all gonna see it on, what's today? Tuesday? So Tuesday video came. Y'all gonna see it tomorrow, Wednesday. This is gonna be Thursday video. And I'm going to start, I have not done it yet, guys, because I'm still working. I'm working, and so I don't be having the time. When I get off, I'll be having so much stuff to do. I'm in transition with so many things. But I am going to set it up where we have memberships. I have memberships now, but I'm going to switch it up because I want it to be able to help you guys. I don't want it to be, I just got a membership to just do this or that. I want to be able to help you. And I'm going to start having guests on that are going to help you as the clients and you as the professionals, as cosmetologists. All right. I pray this video helps you. Love you guys. I'll see you next video.